Hi, this is Dex, and today I'm not merely going to give a talk about some aspect of my therapeutic spiritual counseling. I'm feeling very charitable today, so I'm going to give a live demonstration. But I'm going to give this live demonstration on you, here and now, over this video. And the subject we're going to take up in this video is one of your stubbornly held protective attitudes. What is a stubbornly held protective attitude? Well, it's something you use that you default to. It's some sort of emotional, mental programming that you use in order not to deal with something that you find too painful, essentially, too much fear in it, something like that. So it's a means of dismissing something. It's saying, I don't need to look at this, that has no value, I'm not going to get involved with that, I'm not going to go there, is the essential attitude. You may be familiar with the psychology term for this called the defense mechanism. If you have a Scientology background, they have a term service facsimile, the idea being that it's a mental image of something that a person holds in place with the idea that it serves them in some way. Any mental or emotional programming that you self-install so that it will help you in some way with the idea that it will help you to accomplish something, or that it will help you to prevent something, in which case prevent something essentially that would be painful or has a lot of fear in it. But I digress a little bit. Any mental programming you install with the idea that it's going to prevent something that you don't want to experience, that you feel you can't experience, or that's going to help you to accomplish something, if it's mental programming and it's automatic and it's unyielding, then what it's going to do is prevent you from accomplishing what it's intended to accomplish. It's going to accomplish exactly what you're trying to prevent. Because when you're no longer being present and substituting some default attitude for really being present in the moment, being conscious and dealing with each individual moment for the unique thing that it is, it's going to work against you. It is the primary everyday cause of self-sabotage. This is how we sabotage ourselves, by adopting mental programming that is fixed and unyielding. And stubbornly held protective attitude is one of the basic ways that we do this. And so nobody realizes, I think, how many of these they've got, but we all got plenty. If you don't think you have any of this mechanism, if it doesn't seem real to you, or if through some mental practice or spiritual practice you feel like you're above this and you don't have these anymore, I'm sorry, but you most definitely do. There is nobody walking around on this planet without some stubbornly held protective attitudes, and they hold in place certain chronic conditions and feelings, as a matter of fact, that you'd rather not be stuck with. Because until you're willing to connect with them and allow them to express in you and be spiritually digested, they're going to hang right there and persist. This comes up a lot in processing, in the sessions I give, in the sessions other people give, whether they're doing something similar to what I do or not. You're going to find, if you work with people this way, that sometimes they're going to tell you that they can't feel whatever the emotion or feeling is that you're encouraging them to feel. And it isn't so much that they can't. In a sense, it's true, but it's that they won't, because they've installed some sort of stubbornly held protective attitude that says, I just don't go there, that's not good for me, I won't do it. And that becomes an obstacle to growing spiritually, mentally, and emotionally, for owning your own mental creations and your own pain so that they can process and be eliminated. And when one of these stubbornly held protective attitudes of, I don't deal with that, that's no good, I don't go there, that's bad, that's wrong, it's too painful, it's useless, it's a waste of time, whatever it may be, well, that actually leaves you stuck with that feeling. It doesn't, it's an attempt to hold it off, but what it really does is it holds it there. And I'm going to walk you through this process. That's what we're going to do now, so that you will be relieved possibly, if you stay with me on this, one of your means of sabotaging yourself. And again, that's not what you put it there for. You put it there for the exact opposite reason. You put it there to protect you or so you wouldn't have some issue, but it actually, again, it keeps it right there for you. Okay, so that's enough explanation of what it is for now. But I explain that because now what I want you to do is think of some attitude you maintain towards something that says, that's all I need to know about that. I'm not going to experience that. I'm not going to engage with that. I'm not going there, about whatever it might be, okay? And there's a feeling connected with that idea of, I don't want to feel what's behind that. I don't want to have that feeling. So whatever it might be, let's see if you can come up with one of yours, something that you refuse to connect with or refuse to do, and to some degree you're aware that it's cutting you off from some of your life. To some degree you're aware that you're just refusing to engage, and that there's a very obstinate feeling to it. So just take whatever you get. Take a moment or two now to pick one for yourself, something that you absolutely refuse to connect with, something you hold in place and you get very adamant and very obstinate about, something about which you say, that's no good, I don't go there, that's only going to hurt me, it's a waste of my time, I don't want to be bothered with that, whatever. I think I've made it clear enough. So I want you to write down, articulate the wording of that particular attitude. And you may need to pause this video at this point. You will be pausing this video at points as I walk you through this. I promise you it will be fun. So get a paper and a pen or some means of putting on paper or whatever, the articulation of that attitude, what says that attitude for you. It can be something like, that's just going to waste my time. It can be, we all know that that's useless. Or it can be, people are idiots if. But whatever it is, make a note of it. Take a moment or two now. Try to keep it a short phrase because it'll make it easier for you to have it on your mind as you look at it and refer to it. It doesn't need to be too short, but just as long as you get the idea of it. Okay, so I'm going to assume that you've paused this video by this point, or you will now, so that we can go on with the next step after we've articulated this particular attitude. Now, the next step is simply this. Tell me what emotions, feelings, and or sensations are embedded in this attitude. Fear, anger, some particular type of fear or anger or whatever. What emotions, sensations, attitudes are actually fueling this attitude, are embedded in the attitude? Now, having taken a look at this and recognized these feelings, I'm going to remind you here that all feelings are energies. They're particular energies expressing as particular feelings. And what I want you to do now is we're going to do the spiritual digestion step. So the particular feelings, attitudes, and sensations that are coming to mind as being within this particular attitude that you've articulated, I want you to now allow this to freely express through you. Don't resist it. Relax all the muscles, head and body, and be completely effortless. These feelings are already present for you. This is not about pulling them towards you or digging for more than you get, but just take what you get and allow the energies that are expressing as the feelings of this particular stubbornly held protective attitude to express through you, to permeate, like drinking a cup of, say, hot tea and feeling the heat permeate through your body and gradually disperse away. Okay? That's how it works if you just allow these feelings, which are energies, to fully express. As you're doing this, many things can come to mind. It's not random. The things that will pass through your mind are coming up now because they're manifestations of these feelings. Other related feelings might surface as you're doing this. Just take whatever you get. Again, be completely effortless, relax all the muscles, and just allow the energies of these feelings to express. Don't do anything. Don't try to make them come or go or anything. Just take what you get. Let your spiritual compass do the work for you here. It's going to present, without any effort on your part, just instinctually, exactly what it is that you need to allow to flow through you unresisted. Allow this to happen until you no longer feel the presence of any of these feelings. You don't need to assume that there's more that you're not getting and try to look for more or dig it out. Don't do that. Don't. Just take what you get until you no longer feel the presence of any of the energies expressing as these feelings related to that stubbornly held protective attitude that you have articulated, until you no longer feel the presence of any of these feelings or energies. Again, this is a time to pause this as needed so that you can allow this process to take place. Do it fully. Don't do it until it feels like it's almost gone. Just simply be with the presence of these feelings until those energies are completely digested and dispersed. All right, I'm going to assume that you've completely done that, and as needed, pause the video to complete that step. Okay, my next question to you. That attitude, and I want you to look at the exact wording of that attitude. What is that particular attitude intended to protect you from? Take a minute or two. I want you to get what that really is intended to protect you from. Think about it. Chances are you're going to word it a few different ways. You're going to get bits and pieces of it, and then you'll settle on what best expresses what it's really intended to protect you from loss, from failure, from some kind of pain, from humiliation, from defeat, whatever it might be, from not being loved, from being rejected, from losing, whatever it is for you, from failure. Get that, write it down. Once you have it, we'll continue. Again, this may be a point to pause the video until you're clear on this and you've written it down, once it crystallizes for you. Okay, so having written down what this particular stubbornly held protective attitude is intended to protect you from, now I want you to allow yourself and your mind to experience, to review, to feel, to allow the flow through you the times across your life and your existence when you've encountered these conditions that you would use this particular stubbornly held protective attitude to protect you from, okay? Where there's that element that you would use this attitude to protect you from, or could use it to protect you from. I want you to just take a little ride, let all these things pass through you, these different incidents and experiences, fully, again, across your whole existence. And again, just take whatever your mind gives you. I want you to take some time on this until nothing more is coming up for you. And bear in mind this principle of therapeutic spiritual counseling. You don't put effort or work into this. You just allow it to come to you. Allow these moments to come to you, along with the feelings that are there, and allow these to express. Okay? Don't be resistive in any way. Stay relaxed. And allow to come to mind these circumstances wherein you would be at risk of encountering or experiencing the item that this attitude is intended to protect you from, where you might use this attitude to protect you from that. Okay? All the different things. They all will come to mind as they need to. They all contain the same energy of feelings. Allow this to occur, let it flow until nothing more comes up for you on it. And you can pause this video as needed until that step is complete for you and nothing more is coming up. Okay, once that is done and there's no more coming up for you, we'll move on to this question. What have the consequences been of maintaining this attitude that we're processing? I want you to continue. Name them all. Might not be a bad idea to write them down, but you don't necessarily have to do that. I want you to get any and every consequence that comes to mind of having maintained this attitude, of maintaining it, what it results in, what it has resulted in, good and bad. And of course, you can pause this video as needed. And I'll tell you my next question is going to be, are there any other consequences of having maintained this attitude? What other consequences have there been of maintaining this attitude? Pause as needed, and I'm going to ask again. Have there been any other consequences of this attitude? We want to capture all of them. Pause this as needed between questions. Okay, I'm going to ask yet again. Have there been any other consequences of maintaining this attitude? I want you to understand that it's very important that we get everything that can come to mind. It doesn't mean that there always has to be more. There's going to be a point at which everything has come to mind. So don't take my asking again and again and again to mean that there have to be more. When there's no more, there's no more. But we want to be extremely thorough on this step. Now, once you've looked at this question, listen to me asking it again and again and again until nothing more comes up for you. This step is complete. So, assuming you've paused as needed and you're ready for the next question, here it is. How does maintaining this attitude seem to you now? Think it through. Now, one of two things are happening here. Most often, you're looking at this attitude and finding it unhelpful in the end, silly, unnecessary, and you can now dispense with it. That's what we're going for, the point where you can dispense with this stubbornly held protective attitude. Very often, you're not there yet. And if you feel like this attitude still has too much value, it serves you, you can't get rid of it. What that means is that there's another stubbornly held protective attitude connected to the one we've been processing, but more basic, that holds the one we've been processing in place, so that you're not ready to get rid of it. You can't get rid of it because of this more basic stubbornly held protective attitude that relates to it and holds it in place. So if you're ready to dispense with this attitude, you look at it, you might be laughing at it when you look at it now if you're ready to dispense with it, because it gets so silly. You look at it and you think, well, it seemed like a good idea at the time. But yeah, it's really not. It's really sabotaging me. If you're all the way there, great. Okay? If not, then I want you to go back in this video to where I first ask for that stubbornly held protective attitude. Get the one, you can get it right now, I'm sure, that holds that other attitude in place, that says that that attitude must be maintained. Take this new stubbornly held protective attitude. Again, as we did with the other one, you're going to go back to the beginning and go through these steps again, articulate it, get the phrase of that attitude, and then take yourself completely through these steps again to arrive at this point on the video. In other words, go back in the video, come to this point again, and do through all the questions that I've already given. And at the end of that, you should be ready to dispense with this attitude. It should seem kind of funny to you now, and you can be done with it. There's always possibility that there could be yet another stubbornly held protective attitude holding this one in place. I've never seen it go to more than 3, but I won't completely rule out the possibility. But generally, most often, you just need to get 1. Not infrequently, you need to get 2. Less frequently, there's a 3rd. That's not all that rare, but it's less frequently. Go through these steps until you arrive at the point where you can dispense with the attitude that you're addressing. Once you do that, you probably just need to look at each of the other attitudes it was supporting, give it a brief thought, and immediately you're able to dispense with it. You simply need to look at the other ones again, going in backwards in reverse order, look at it and think, how does it seem now? And you're ready to let go of it. And that is the dispensing of your stubbornly held protective attitude. And there's one more step that is good to do after that, which is what outlook, what view can you take, what attitude can you take that would be helpful and positive as opposed to the restrictiveness and the held in place, rigid nature of this stubbornly held protective attitude. Now that you're freed of this I'm not going there kind of a thing, how can you look at life in relation to what you would have used this attitude for now? What sort of positive outlook can you take about things? I want you to get that idea. Embrace it. Own it. And at that point, that completes our session for today. You can get back to me, comment on the YouTube about how it went for you. I'd love to see what you have to say. Okay? If you didn't quite get there doing this on the video, if you haven't had your free introductory session with me yet, what are you waiting for? And if you have, well then, maybe it's just time for some more sessions. Here I am. You know how to find me. Just go to my website, decksessions.com, and we will most definitely have more fun. I hope you enjoyed this. I look forward to hearing from you.